We are here at the scene, Embassy Avenue in Spring Hill, the scene of a barricaded suspect yesterday afternoon and into the early morning hours this morning that did end in that person being shot and killed by a shot from a deputy. A little bit of information about how this started was yesterday afternoon, about 12:20 in the afternoon. We received a call at this house on Embassy Avenue of a family dispute, a domestic type issue between two family members. When we got here, we did find a family member who was the apparent victim of a battery to the point where there was actually injuries that caused some blood and so forth. The person did refuse medical attention, but it was obvious that some violence had occurred in the household. And when we tried to make contact with who we believe to be the suspect, the person went back inside the house and barricaded them in the house. His name is James Collins, Collins. He is a white male. He's 61 years old. He barricaded himself in the house shortly after we got here, so it was probably around 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon, maybe a little earlier than that, and we talked with him for almost exactly 12 hours. Unfortunately, when we did make contact with him, most of the times the conversation was extremely short. The person was very upset, very irate, very irrational at times. There were once or twice where we were able to talk in a fairly rational manner with him, but those conversations were extremely short and digressed very quickly back to somebody who was very upset, very irate. Comments like, you know, I'm prepared for this, and you know, it's not going to go well, type of comments. I don't know verbatim what he said, but we talked with him for attempted to talk with him for about 12 hours. Just before 1 a.m. this morning, the suspect, the deceased, had come out of his house with a rifle. And actually, it's my understanding, and again, all this information is still extremely preliminary. We haven't even done a search of the house, and they're just in the process of examining the body as I walked away. So all of this is very preliminary, but it's my understanding that about 1 a.m. or just before 1 a.m. this morning, he walked out with a long gun, a rifle, with a flashlight taped to it. I was talking with a couple of the investigators, and there were a couple magazines that were taped to the bottom, basically ready for a confrontation. When that person scanned the front yard and kind of scanned in the direction and maybe even fixated a little bit on our team that was would be an arrest team, had the opportunity presented itself to take the person into custody. Of course, that obviously put their lives in extreme danger. And another deputy who is in charge of overwatch, protecting the deputies from this very situation from occurring, saw that the gun was pointed in their direction. Their lives were obviously, he felt, in danger. So he did fire a shot, a single shot. As far as we know, there's only one shot fired, and it did obviously incapacitate the individual who was later confirmed to be deceased at the residence right by the front door. So that's pretty much all we know right now. FDLE is here, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, as is customary with any deputy-involved shootings. We call them in to look the case over and do the criminal side of the investigation. And then, of course, the deputy has been put on administrative leave with pay, which is, again, standard procedure anytime a shooting occurs. We'll go through the investigation. We're going to be here probably for several more hours doing a search warrant of the house. I've also been told a very cursory examination of the house immediately after to make sure that it was secure did reveal that there were several weapons inside, not a huge number of weapons, but maybe a little more than the average person might have. I think they did see some stash of ammunition. I also understand that there was a gas mask inside, and we haven't confirmed this, but I think some neighbors, as well as maybe even the suspect had mentioned something about body armor. So there may actually be body armor in the house, or the suspect may actually be wearing it. We haven't confirmed that yet, but that was some of the discussions to give you a little bit of a landscape of what we were dealing with. So if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them for you.
Is there any danger or threat to anyone in the area?
I'm sorry, what now?
Is there any danger?
Right now? Is there any danger? No, there is absolutely no danger in the area right now. Everything as of the time the incident took place at 1 o'clock this morning, that's when the danger stopped.
Sheriff, do you think Mr. Collins was planning to did this as a suicide by cop type of thing, or was he?
Well,
did you think he would actually shoot somebody on the way out?
Well, and unfortunately, we don't know that. I guess because the number of more than just one weapon, and the fact there's a gas mask and there's possibly body armor, may indicate that he was looking for a fight. And throughout the negotiations, or attempted negotiations, there were. It appeared obvious to our negotiators that he wanted law enforcement to take the first action. He wanted, it appeared, based on his conversation and his demeanor, that he wanted that confrontation. Of course, our position is we'll stay here as long as we have to if it results in getting him out of the home safely. And unfortunately, in this case, most times that works. We are able to calm the person down and talk them out. Our CRT, our sometimes called hostage negotiators, they do an excellent job. And the vast majority of the times we're able to take the person into custody either for the crime they committed or under Baker Act. We're able to do that without anybody getting injured, and it's the rare exception that something like this happens. But unfortunately, it could very well be that he made some comments, I believe, like, I'm not going to go back to prison, you're not going to take my weapons, those types of things. So it could be that this is the way he wanted it to end. Whether it was to go out in a blaze of glory or whether it was, as you said, suicide by cop, I guess we'll never really know. So what his true intentions were.
You understand, you guys evacuated some of the neighbors. When did that start? How did all that go?
That usually happens very quickly. So probably at 1 o'clock, maybe 1:30 yesterday afternoon, very early, as soon as he went back inside the house and refused to come out, and we had some indications, some intelligence that there were some weapons involved, the first thing we do is try to get at least the surrounding houses evacuated and try to get those people to a safe area. And so that was done very early. So unfortunately, those people were displaced for about 12 hours yesterday, at least, maybe a little longer. So.
Are those residents back in their home now?
Yes, they were actually able to come back about a little after 1 o'clock this morning, because again, at that point, the situation was resolved and there was no more threat.
Are you guys still going to have this blocked off and the other end blocked off so no one can drive in and out of this area?
That's correct. We're obviously FDLE has taken over the scene. We do have the medical examiner that needs to come and do that, so it's still going to be, and we still need to do a search warrant on the house and collect anything that might be of evidentiary value. So as soon as the incident occurred at 1 o'clock this morning, everything slows down. It can take us several hours up to a full day to get the scene released.
Whenever all of this started, the domestic situation, was this husband and wife or husband and other family member?
Well, I really don't want to give too much information because of Marcy's law about the victim, but it was blood relatives. It was not by marriage. It's my understanding it was blood relatives. So it was not a marriage. It was not a husband-wife. Okay. All right. Thank you all very much. If you have any other questions, we may be releasing the name of the deputy involved a little bit later this afternoon, and because in this situation he was not a victim of the aggravated assault, so we'll probably be releasing that, but a little bit later today. The PIO. If you have any questions or any follow-up you need, don't hesitate to contact my PIO. He'll be happy to help you out. All right. Thank you all very much. Have a good morning now.